I just thought of the dumbest thing. I was thinking about minimalism and how it was kind of always a part of my life in a way. We were poor. We didn't have much, but what we did have was beautiful. We had the necessities. And looking back on those things, I realized, well, first of all, my mom has always had such great taste. And two, I never felt like I was lacking. Yeah, I may have wanted the coolest etnies or the coolest telescope, but what I did have in my closet and in our home space was meaningful. It was passed down from loved ones and friends, and it was taken care of, not just tossed around or whatever because it wasn't the latest new thing. It was held in the home space just like we were, protected, nurtured, and loved. Minimalism isn't just about the clutter of items, but the clutter of relationships, time constraints, emotions. I think it's natural to be entranced and drawn in by all the noise around you, saying what you need, should, and shouldn't do. We like to think we don't get caught up in that, but then all of a sudden we find ourselves just buried beneath it all. Our schedules, homes, and energies cluttered with commitments we regret making and objects taking up valuable space. Even within our relationships, sometimes we create clutter with unspoken words and unrequited time, love, and energy. And sometimes that clutter isn't even ours. Sometimes we take on other people's dramas and traumas and emotions and objects. Tending to all that clutter is exhausting and burdensome, I know. I think sometimes we hold on to things from the past, whether that is people, ideas, objects, because we are afraid of losing that connection to the past, to people, especially if they're no longer in our lives. Or maybe we're afraid of losing that connection with our goals that we never pursued. Sometimes we have all these items around because we would feel guilty if we got rid of them. But I think an important question to ask is why? Why would you feel that way? I think letting go of that clutter is allowing yourself to trust that you will always have what you need. Now, I know I titled this Minimalist. That was mostly for search. My bad. But anyway, I don't consider myself a minimalist. I can't put myself or people in one box. We're multifaceted in our own ways, and there's always so much more than just, this or that, black or white. There's always so much color in between that we tend to fluctuate in, whether we acknowledge that or not. So minimalism, maximalism, essentialism, do what you please, but understand what it is you're doing. While minimalist and maximalist may appear polar opposites, their connection lies in their shared desire for intentional living. Minimalists seek to eliminate excess to find clarity and meaning, while maximalists may surround themselves with diverse stimuli to enrich their lives. And essentialism, in turn, connects both by guiding you to identify what truly matters, whether that means embracing the simplicity of minimalism or the exuberance of maximalism. Each philosophy offers a unique lens through which you can shape your life, emphasizing mindfulness and authenticity and purposeful choices. There is something you should acknowledge no matter what lifestyle you choose to adopt. There's this cognitive bias called the Endowment Effect, where people ascribe a higher value to possessions or opportunities solely because they own them. And this phenomenon contributes to attachment and reluctance to part with possessions, even when their utility or value has diminished. This effect can also hinder rational decision making, leading you to overvalue items due to emotional attachment rather than objective assessment. This bias can also influence negotiations, making people demand disproportionately favorable trade-offs. Overcoming the endowment effect requires a conscious and deliberate approach. By employing various strategies and techniques, you can mitigate this cognitive bias and make more rational decisions regarding your belongings. So, of course, here's another video about some effective ways to overcome something. In this case, effective ways to overcome the endowment effect. Adopt a buyer's perspective. So, when evaluating possessions, try to imagine you don't own them and consider whether you would be willing to purchase them at their current value. This mental shift helps you assess the item's worth objectively, detached from the emotional attachment. Set a limit. Establish a time limit for reconsidering your attachment to the item. If you haven't used or thought about an item within a specific period, it may be easier to recognize that its value to you has diminished. Create a maybe box. When decluttering, place items you're unsure about in a designated box or a part of your house or a part of your closet, whatever, and then revisit that box after a set period. And if you haven't missed or needed the items, it becomes easier to let go. Practice mindfulness. Okay, so no matter what I'm talking about with y'all, whether it's discipline, cults, minimalism, I'm always going to incorporate mindfulness into my tips and tricks and suggestions, because mindfulness is about discovering yourself, knowing thyself. So through mindfulness, you develop self-awareness about your emotional responses to possessions. Mindfulness can help you recognize and manage emotional attachments, making it easier to make objective decisions. Focus on memories. Instead of holding on to physical objects, capture the memories associated with them through photographs or journal entries. This allows you to retain the sentiment without cluttering your space. Seek external opinions. Get a trusted friend or family member to provide an unbiased perspective on whether an item is worth keeping. I think external viewpoints can offer a fresh outlook on your possessions, but keep in mind whatever decision you choose, make sure it's your own. Charitable donations. Donating items to those in need can help you detach emotionally from possessions. Knowing that your items are benefiting others can make it easier to let go. Overcoming the endowment effect requires a combination of self-awareness, mindfulness, and deliberate decision-making. By implementing these strategies, whether it's all of them or just a few, you can reduce the bias impact and make more informed choices about your possessions, leading to clutter-free and more intentional life. Whether you want to embody this energy of minimalist and essentialist and maximalist, whatever it is you feel called to do, remember that it isn't just black and white. There isn't a right or wrong way. It's your way. And your way can change over time as you grow and have more experiences and learn more about yourself and the world around you. So whatever type of living you choose to follow, minimalism, essentialism, maximalism, whatever, understand the dynamic interplay between all these different lifestyles and how they orchestrate a harmonious symphony of intentional living. As you cultivate the ability to discern, detach, and simplify, these lifestyles forge a path toward greater depth, purpose, and fulfillment. And I think by weaving all these concepts into the fabric of your daily life, you can navigate the complexities of decision making, ownership, and existence with a heightened sense of mindfulness and purpose.